Hey, we're streaming live. This is the first time that I am using this webinar, Zoom webinars. And so just one moment, I will be right back and we'll get started. Okay, so let's see. How do I add my panelist? To meeting. Participants. There we go. Hey, Allison, are you on? You're unmuted. Oh. Share screen, recording. One panelist. I don't see how. All right, Allison, I'm going to get you on here. Hold on. If you know how to do this, you can send me a chat. Okay, so let's see. Sharing's on. I know I can't see you on the screen though. Q&A options. Okay. Right. Okay. Well, this is fun anyway. Hover over your name. Let's see. There we go. I think we're getting there. There we are. Yay. Sorry about that.
No worries. Hello.
Okay, we got a little rocky start, but we got it here.
We're good. We're good.
Thanks for your help. Yeah, this is the first time I've been using VLive, but it just takes up so much bandwidth. I'm hoping this will work better. So
yeah.
Anyway, welcome to the Expert Interview Series.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, so let me just introduce the show to everybody, and then we'll get kind of we'll jump right in. So this series was developed for people to just take bite-sized actions, because we're almost near the end of the year, and I know a lot of people get in overwhelm and freeze, and then they don't meet their revenue goals by for the end of the year. And so I wanted experts to come on and talk about different things, but give each guest is going to be giving the listeners, the viewers, one specific tip or strategy that's going to be giving them an instant result in their business if they implement it. And I think that's the key, is sometimes we get in that habit of learning, and we don't implement. And so these are just little tiny bite-sized pieces that people can implement. So let me introduce myself. My name's Lisa Mizels, and I'm the host of the Expert series here. And I'm also the founder of Famana, my company, and the creator of the Empowered Living Show, which is an internationally acclaimed video show where I have guest women entrepreneurs mainly come on and talk about, spotlight their video, their business, and talk about their story of struggle to success. And it's been a big hit. It's hosted over on my partner's website at Inspiration Unlimited e-magazine. So you can check that out. So basically we're gonna jump in. I'm going to tell you a little bit more about Allison so that you know what her background is, and then we'll jump in. Does that sound good?
It sounds great.
Okay. All right. Awesome. All right. So, Allison is a business strategist for mompreneurs. She helps mompreneurs raise their businesses while they are raising their family. I love that. Allison believes in sharing your story authentically, the power of Facebook Live, and incorporating automation into your business so that you don't have to be in your business all day long. So I love this because this is something great that I know a lot of people are real hesitant to do. And so before we start, let me just ask you what your big why is, because I think it's really important for people to understand what that is about people. So yeah, we'll start there.
Yeah, I think everyone needs to have a really strong why, or else what's the point of your business? So for me, I really want to empower other women. It's kind of been my theme for 2017. Going in 2018, I have a very clear vision on how I'm going to be doing that, because I truly think that women have a unique capability to have it all, and to have it all on their own terms. And I think a lot of times we kind of get pushed into a bubble as a mom or as a wife or as a sister, when there's no limit on the type of person you are and the type of impact you can make. So I'm kind of on a mission to help other women do the same, create a bigger impact, create a ripple effect, give back to the causes that they feel really strongly about, give back to their communities, set their families up for financial success, and to really live the life that they actually want to live instead of the life that they kind of get pushed into.
That's great. Now, your moms that you work with, are they, do they have little ones, or are they brand new moms, or where do they normally lie in there?
Yeah, it's interesting. So it's changed as my family has changed. So I'm pregnant with number 2 right now.
Congratulations.
Yeah, thank you. She's due in February, and I have a little guy who's 4. So for me right now, it's kind of funny. I'm working with a lot of women who are kind of in the same stage of life, because I think we can really relate to one another really well. Whereas before I was pregnant, I was working with women who had elementary school aged kids. So it's kind of cool because it shifts. And now I'm in this whole second kid thing. And, the change, it's different this time around. So I work with a lot of women who have elementary school and younger, I guess, or they're in the second kid phase. Yeah, because I do think we can relate a little, it's unique. When you have teenagers, it's a very different kind of frame of reference than when you have toddlers. So that's where I find myself kind of working now. I've worked with women, in all stage of mompreneurship, but that's where I'm at now.
Well, I think that's a great place to be too, because I remember when my kids were little, and you want a sense of belonging, you want a sense of community, you want to be an adult and to be able to give to the world. It's otherwise you feel isolated because you're just doing kid things, which is not, I'm not saying that's not giving back to the world, but you know what I mean? It's we're used to being productive, and we're used to, seeing results and stuff. And so when you have little ones around, that sense of community that you probably bring your women is probably very important. So that's awesome.
Yeah. And you can really relate better, I think, sometimes.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. Yeah. Yeah. I just remember I just remember when my kids were little, which was a long time ago. They're 23 and 24.
That's
But
awesome.
yeah, yeah, it is. It's awesome. They're great. But yeah, when they're little, it's like that's all you do is baby. So I'm sure you have some specific strategies that really help your moms to be productive and to get that in. All right. Well, let's dive in, shall we?
Yes, let's do it.
Okay, so you're going to be talking about how to leverage
Mhm.
Facebook to become a client magnet, and I love that topic. So tell us what this is all about, and give us your goods.
Yeah. So I think that Facebook is, and I think all social media, and maybe not just Facebook, but just social media in general is really great for getting clients, but getting clients on your terms and getting clients in the way that feels really good for you. And it's the whole like figuring out what that looks like for you. That's the hardest part. But what I am a big fan of is leveraging your story, because I think your story is powerful. And
Mhm.
a lot of women say, I don't have a story. Like, I don't have like a crazy life circumstance that like other people were like, oh my gosh, like, oh my, like, there's no like extreme reactions.
Like I wasn't homeless and went to $100,000
Right.
overnight or whatever.
Like that's very rare that we're all, in that space. And I didn't really realize that I had a story until I really like dove into it and like really thought about my journey from, being in a 9 to 5, having kids, getting laid off, going into entrepreneurship. Like it's a story, it's a journey. But I honestly didn't think I had a story for a really long time. So I was really afraid of kind of sharing my story because it wasn't anything glamorous. It was like we applied for food stamps, and then like I was afraid we weren't gonna didn't make ends meet for like a year, and like like that's not stuff I'm proud of. It's not stuff I love to talk about. But it's
But that's
things.
the relatable. That's what's relatable, right?
Exactly. It's things like that that other women get. So
Yes.
when we use our story, when we can really, sit down and think about the moments, like the aha moments, or the time you're like, you know what, I'm done with this. Like this doesn't work anymore. And you made those changes, no matter how big, how small, how complicated, how whatever they are, there's someone else out there who's going to relate to that.
Yeah.
So if you have, if you suffered with postpartum depression after having your kids, talk about that because so many women deal with that. If you're the primary breadwinner of your family and it's a big like pressure on you, talk about that. People can relate to that. If you're doing all the right things and nothing's working, talk about that. Like so many women are in that kind of struggle because, you hear you get listen to all the free content online and it's telling you to do these certain things, but those certain things aren't necessarily meant for you specifically in your business. So figure out a way to tell your story that feels good to you, is a little bit outside of your comfort zone, and that moves you forward, like can help other women to kind of understand and relate to you.
Yeah. I love that because when you're starting out and you're starting to tell your story, it is very, I mean, you feel very vulnerable, and it's scary to bring out those shadow sides.
Yeah.
And you don't have to dig into the dirt and get all that stuff up and get messy.
Mm-mm.
But and I think that's where people are like, well, I don't want to expose, this thing that I'm super ashamed of. That's not the point of it, though. But you can highlight how you felt when a certain event happened, and you don't have to name it specifically, but the interaction, the relatability to how you felt and what was going on around you, and all of those things, I think really help. So do you have any tips for people that are developing their story, that and they may be like, I don't want to share that stuff. That's like,
Mhm.
people don't need to know that about me. Where do you draw the line?
Yeah. Well, I don't think you should be sharing your story as you're in it. I
Yes.
think it's too raw. It's too emotional. You can't see the bigger picture when you're kind of in it. So I don't think you should share like
Yeah.
I want you to share what's going on right now, but if you're going through some harder times, like maybe don't share that part.
Right.
But think about what got you to this point. So if you're able to really, remove yourself from 3 months ago or 6 months ago or 12 months ago and talk about like what you were doing during that time. So like an example. Let's come up with an example. So let's say you had a kid 4 months ago, and postpartum depression like hit you pretty immediately. And you woke up one day and you realized like this active business I have, this active like one-on-one coaching, this constantly like being in my business doesn't work for me anymore. Like it doesn't work for you because you're handling life, you're dealing with a newborn, you're trying to refigure out, who you are as an individual. So maybe like active coaching isn't what you're going to be doing right now. So you're going to maybe move on to like a course creation, passive product type of business model, which is fine and great. So talking about that kind of like aha moment where you had that realization, where you realize life is just happening right now and my business isn't fitting into my life anymore. Talk about that, because I think a lot of women think that you have to have, certain things in your business. You have to have these different streams of income, or you have to do this. Talk about that. And that's okay to talk about. It's okay to talk about. It's like, talk about how your business is shifting, and kind of like how your life has really shaped how your business is shifting. So that's like an example of kind of what.
Yeah, and that's a great example, because like you were mentioning, people are saying, well, I don't have a big, because you hear all these internet marketers that are, I was living in my car for, then I got a laptop and everything was cool. So, but the experiences that you go through as we go on our journey, we all have stories. We have stories every single day.
Yeah.
And so I found what helps sometimes is just to like talk into your phone, or journal, or whatever you can do to just kind of capture how the thing that's happening right now, or the story, or is that something that you find helpful?
Totally. Yeah. I think there's lots of different ways to kind of work through your story. So what I actually do is this wall behind me, I take the art down and I'll put like different colored Post-it notes up. So I'll have like a year ago is one color, 6 months ago is another color, 5 years ago is another color. And I'll like write down moments that were like aha moments, or like big things, or maybe not so big things, but things that happened, either things like that were said to me, things that I said, action items that I did, like outside circumstances that kind of affected me, and like what they facilitated. And so eventually like the back wall is like completely covered in all these things, which is kind of fun. It's a super like visual way of like mapping out things. I do that for a lot of different things, but stories in particular. And it can really help you to like physically see what's going on. I'm a very visual person. So if you're like an audio learner, like you said, talking to your phone, do some voice notes. And then I know there's apps that you can have it like transcribe into like documents and things like that. So then get that in writing and like see however you learn, however the best you learn is, go in that way. I think
that's great. Now, this is great information. So tell us a little bit more about Facebook Lives. I know a lot of people are real hesitant to do, to become it's like being vulnerable with your story is one thing, and then coming on technology and spreading it to the world is the other thing. So what is something that can make people feel comfortable when they're first doing Facebook Lives?
Yeah, I think Facebook Live is a super powerful tool, and I think it can really shape and change your business. I think it could be so effective. But if you're super hesitant to do a Facebook Live, if you're super nervous about it, try a couple times in the mirror. That's what I would do. I would like watch yourself, watch your mannerisms. And sometimes like I use a lot of my hands. I look around a lot.
I'm always doing
yeah. And I've had people say like, I find it really distracting that you use your hands so much. And like, okay, good opinion. But like, I'm not going to change that because that's how I am. Like, that's how I talk. That's how I interact with people. And I think by changing that, you're not being truly genuine. So number one, know that there's going to be things that people say to you, they think they're coming from a good place, but they're not, but it doesn't help you. So just like, know you're going to get some crappy feedback, and that's okay. The second thing I think is practice in the mirror. So like, if there are things that you can tweak, like maybe you say, like, I have a client, this is like all the time. She's like all the time. And it drives her crazy. So I'm like, okay, that really bothers you. Then maybe practice it a couple times. And what she does is she puts I'm a big fan of sticky notes. She puts sticky notes up on the side of her computer with like the major bullet points. So what that does is it just helps her to kind of stay on track, because when she gets nervous, she starts saying like, and then the third thing I would do is just, this isn't like super impactful, but just do it. Like there's going to be no amount of preparation. There's going to be nothing that makes you feel 100% like, yes, I can do this. So just go for it. Just go for it. If you are the type of person who needs encouragement, maybe have some of your biz besties, like tell them like, hey, I'm going to do this at noon. Can you just tune in and give me some like hearts and love while I'm doing it? And they'd be glad to help you out in that way. So just, I kind of think sometimes you just have to like take the leap and do it, and start in small chunks. So if you're going to share your story, share a little tidbit at first. You know, it can be like a 5-minute long video where you talk about this aha moment you had, and then build from there. So if you want to continue sharing your story, do another 5-minute long video, another 5, until you get more comfortable doing it. Yeah. And then you'll take off. Once you do it, it's kind of a little addicting. So I think you should keep doing it. It's super fun. It's so fun. And the thing that's the best part, I think, about Facebook Live is that it's real time. So like people can, if you're talking like about a business strategy that you've implemented and it's worked really well, people can ask questions and you can like coach them, and they essentially get like a little taste of your coaching. And I would argue those people are more likely to convert into clients.
Yeah. Yeah. No, that's great. Those are great tips. And I agree with you. You can't get better at something unless you do it the first time. So you have to practice, and practice makes you feel more comfortable. I mean, just like the oops this morning is like, this is a new technology for me, is Zoom webinars. And so, but it didn't rattle me like it would have when I first started doing it. I would have been like, oh my God, you know, so.
Can't do it.
So just practicing really, really helps. But you have seen that Facebook Live has really been something that has allowed you to convert to clients.
Yeah, Facebook Live has been probably one of the best conversion tools I've had in my business. I think it really develops a like and trust factor really quickly, and you can really set yourself apart from other maybe people in your field by doing Facebook Lives, because they see you, like they see your mannerisms, they see your clothes, they see your room you're in. Like they either like you or they don't. And that's totally fine. It's totally fine. And I think it really like attracts the right people to you.
Yeah, no, I completely agree. This has been great. This has been great information. Is there anything else I didn't ask you that you want to tell people?
I don't think so, Lisa. I think we kind of covered everything.
Okay, great. Well, one thing I do like to ask people is, what is it that you are taking a stand for? Like, what is something that you want to shout from the mountaintop that you want everybody to know?
Oh man, that's a big question. Your time is now. So a lot of women I work with, or a lot of women who are thinking about, you know, that are in my circle, in my community, they think that they have to like wait for success. They think that, oh, when my kids are in school full time, then I'll do this. When my husband makes $100,000 a year, then I'll have time to do this. Things like that. And those are really excuses that hold us back. They're excuses that qualify our lives, and your life doesn't need to be qualified. Those qualifiers are things that don't do us any service. They keep you in a place of stuck. They keep you in a cycle. And if anything, they make you go like further into that cycle, further into that place of negativity. So, and it kind of goes back to my why, that like you're capable of doing anything you want to do. So if you want to start a business, you can start a business. If you want to make 100K next year and you've made 25K this year, you can do that. Like that's nothing that's like out of the ordinary. Your business can do amazing things for yourself. It can do amazing things for your family. It can do amazing things for your community. You just have to step into that role and step into that role of a CEO and really like just unapologetically go for it. Yeah. And you're going to fail. It's going to happen. There's going to be things that you think are going to be like amazing and they aren't. Or, you know, something you think is going to be really little, like totally like nail it. And you're like, oh, wow. Okay. I learned from that. So just be open to new ideas, be open to new ways of thinking about things. And know that you're capable of doing anything you sure as heck want to. You just have to do the action items to get yourself there.
Yeah, perfect. I love it. I love it. And where can people find out more about you?
Sure. So my website is just AllisonHardy.com. It's 2 L's and an I. And I do have a freebie. Can I share my freebie with you guys?
Sure. Yeah.
Okay, so since we talked about ways to book clients and like leveraging your story, I have a really handy guide. It's called 10 Ways to Book Your First Client. So it's meant for earlier stage entrepreneurs, maybe women who have had a business for a couple of months now, but they're just kind of like, you know, in this cycle where they feel like they can't get any traction. Mm-hmm. So if you wanted to download that, it's a bit.ly link. It's bit.ly/find first client. So you can download that.
I'm going to write it down so I can add it to the notes. So
thank you.
bit.ly /
find first client.
Okay. I'll add that to the edited thing. On Be Live we can put it up, and so on this one you can't.
Yeah.
I'm not frozen, so that's a good
thing. That's awesome.
So that's a good thing. Yeah. And so is this your favorite platform to do you go live with Zoom webinar, or do you go live with just the Facebook on your phone, or do you use the desktop version, or what's your favorite?
So I have a theory about third-party apps. So I know Facebook doesn't love third-party apps. So like they don't love Hootsuite, they don't love Buffer or anything like that. So I think that when you go live with Zoom, if you're doing it on your page or on your profile, they're not going to help you out as much. They want you to use their software. But, you know, if you want to do an interview, this is how you have to do it. Or if you want to like share slides or you know, share your screen or anything, Zoom I think is the way to go. So that's my personal opinion.
Yeah, and it's much easier just to go live on your desktop or on your phone through the Facebook app. But I had it. Now you can do interviews on Facebook Live from your phone, but then the person shows up in a little bubble like that. So it's not really,
Yeah. Not really side by side. And not everybody has that capability yet.
Oh, okay. They do have a side by side?
No. You can't get the side by side. Yeah.
Not yet. So hopefully they'll move that way, and then we don't have to use these kind of, you know, third-party apps.
Right. Yeah.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for your time. It was great talking to you. Great tips. And I will post your links in the edited section. And that is all for now. So thank you again, Allison. And for the viewers, we will be back again this week several times to do other expert interviews. And so stay tuned and just keep coming back and checking on the video tab. So we'll see you later. Thanks. Bye. Now I have to figure out how to close this out. Okay. So I can just end the meeting. Stop the recording.
Yeah.
So I stopped the recording. Does that mean we're still live?
Still live. So go to how you made it live. Is that under more with the dots?
Mm-hmm. Oh, stop.